Please keep in mind that no views expressed in this video are held by FDA or its volunteers, rather intended to give students a holistic understanding of common arguments pertaining to this topic. Hello everybody, my name is Speaker Patnagar, and today we'll be talking about the topic the USFG government should increase the minimum wage. In this presentation, we'll first be defining the resolution. Then we'll be exploring potential arguments for the proposition and opposition sides. First, we'll be discussing definitions and background information. This is necessary to understand the debate and to speak well. Now, let's start with the definition of minimum wage, which is the minimum or smallest amount of money an employer is allowed to pay an employee per hour. One thing that is interesting about the minimum wage is that it differs per state because the cost of living in California is more than, for example, Idaho. The federal minimum wage is the minimum amount that a state is allowed to set a minimum wage at. For example, the federal minimum wage is $7.25, which means that you cannot get paid less than that anywhere in the US. However, the minimum wage in California is $15, which means that if you are in California, you have to be paid at least $15 an hour. Now, going to some background, we see that, like mentioned on the last slide, the current federal minimum wage is $7.25, but individual states can increase the minimum wage if they need to account for the cost of living. The minimum wage is also a hotly debated topic, because although some people believe that it is too low, others think that it may actually hurt the economy. Now that we've talked about definitions and background information, we're ready to get into proposition points. Remember that proposition is trying to prove that the USFG government should increase the minimum wage. The first point is the wealth gap. There are a couple of key statistics that we need to keep in mind. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, nearly 2/3 of Americans, or 63%, have been living paycheck to paycheck. It means a lot of Americans are in dire need of more money, so they're able to gain basic necessities. Living paycheck to paycheck means a person does not earn enough money to save anything and spends all the money they can before receiving their next paycheck. It's a situation that implies the person only has enough money for basic necessities, but not anything else. In addition to that, the Council of Foreign Relations states that in the 2021 report, the top 10% of Americans own 70% of the wealth in the US. However, raising the minimum wage would increase the income for 17 million workers, which is 1 in 10 workers. This would not only decrease the amount of Americans living in poverty and living paycheck to paycheck, but also decrease the wealth gap between richer and poorer Americans, helping the economy overall. This means that less people are in poverty and have more disposable income, or money that they're able to spend on things other than basic necessities. Obviously, this increases quality of life, as they have less stress, more resources, and more time and money for enjoyment. Now, there are many benefits that are associated with a larger disposable income that come hand in hand with increasing the minimum wage. Let's look at a few. First, there's better access to healthcare, because the more money people have for insurance and Medicare, the better they are able to care for themselves if any unexpected situations arise. Adding on to the health argument, if someone has more disposable income, they're also able to buy and cook healthier food, as well as afford a gym membership to stay fit. With a larger amount of money, people are also able to pay for college and a better education. This has a snowball effect. When people have more money, then they can use it to get a better job and gain more money through that education. Eventually, with enough savings, people are also able to live in nicer neighborhoods with a decreased crime rate, allowing them to stay safer, increasing quality of life. In addition to that, savings also decrease the likelihood that someone will resort to crime as a method of income, so it allows surrounding people to be safer, as well as allowing them to avoid jail time. Clearly, there are many benefits of an increased minimum wage, mainly because it decreases the amount of people in poverty. Now, let's ask a question before we move on. I want all of you to pause the video and answer this question. How does having more money benefit impoverished people? Okay, now that you've had some time to pause the video to answer this question, let's talk about some answers. A, having more money allows for impoverished people to live in healthier lives through health insurance, food, and gym memberships. It also allows for those that are impoverished to live in safer neighborhoods, decreasing crime rates. Now that we've answered the question, let's move on to the next slides. The second proposition point is economy. We see that raising the minimum wage has the potential to help the economy. We see that people having more money is better for the economy because they have a disposable income, which can be used to support small businesses by buying their products. A reminder that disposable income means money that is not spent solely on basic necessities. Now, what does this mean? It means that more people are putting more money into the economy because they're buying stuff from small businesses, meaning that the economy grows. In fact, a $15 minimum wage would also increase the federal budget by $65.4 billion a year because the government doesn't have to spend millions on safety programs and are able to gain more money from taxes. Overall, a minimum wage is very beneficial to the economy because more people are spending money that is reinvested back into the economy, and the government is able to increase the federal budget. Now that we've discussed the proposition case, let's move on to the opposition side. The first point on the opposition side is inflation. This term means that an increase in prices there's an increase in prices of goods over time. For example, what may have cost $1 in the 1920s costs about $30 now because people are earning more money and there's more of it in the economy. Think about it like this. If people are getting richer, companies need to charge more so they can afford to stay richer than those people. A 2015 Purdue University study says that raising the minimum wage to $15 would increase prices by 4.3%, which is a huge increase in prices, especially if you're talking about the thousands of dollars. This is because companies have to pay employees more but have to make the same product. The only way to keep earning a profit is through increasing the prices of products. This means that if we're increasing the minimum wage, prices will just increase by the same amount or more, leaving the same situation as before or worse. The second point on the opposition side is job loss. The Congressional Budget Office said that $15 minimum wage could lose $2.7 million jobs. And the logic behind this is very simple. Companies have to fire workers because they don't have the money to pay them more. Companies have two options, to pay workers more or hire more workers. And since they're forced to pay workers more, a lot of people start to lose their jobs or lose the opportunity to even get one. This may put even more people in poverty because even though some people have more money, more people don't have jobs at all, which leads to a worse quality of life for a lot of individuals. Continuing on job loss is actually a direct link or a direct connection to poverty, as people don't have a way to earn money for basic necessities, such as food, home, etc. This directly worsens quality of life and is a link to many harmful effects. One of these is an increase in crime because people have pressure to provide for their families, and without a job, some resort to crime. There's also a decrease in health because some people cannot afford the necessary medicines or insurance to deal with health issues. Clearly, job loss is devastating. Now, let's try to answer a question based on the earlier slides. Why is job loss bad for the people experiencing it? Pause the video and take a moment to think about it. Now that you've had some time to reflect on your answers, here's some potential answers that I have given. A, job loss increases the chances for poverty for people as they cannot afford basic necessities such as food and a home. Job loss also increases chances of crime as people get increasingly desperate to support themselves. Thank you everybody for listening, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments of this video. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Just a reminder that Fremont Debate Academy does not support any particular sides. These are arguments that can help both sides of the debate. Hopefully this does teach you about the importance of civic education and government policies early on, which is a reason that you should continue debate. In fact, FDA runs an entire civics program dedicated to this. Check them out on the website for more info. Once again, thank you everybody, and we hope you have a great day.